The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. The mother of Jesus and his brothers arrived at the house. Standing outside, they sent word to Jesus and called him. A crowd seated around him told him, "Your mother and your brothers and your sisters are outside asking for you." But he said to them in reply, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" And looking around at those seated in the circle, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." The Gospel of the Lord. Yeah, the first temptation is to overcome the edginess of Jesus here. So let me try to do that. Of course, we know that he loved his mother. Okay, so asking who are my brother, my mother, Mrs. Were you paying attention? Okay, anyway, so if you were paying attention, we'll see that Jesus is I don't want to say, again, seemingly abrupt. He's quite abrupt here. And this is a much more serious, I don't know, it's a much more serious proclamation than I think we would otherwise believe. Of course, the other, right, his brothers and sisters, these are, of course, kinsmen. I mean, these are, Jesus, the only child and such. So, what's the issue here? What's the issue here? Family, of course, is a great good, but it's not. But this is not. This is not the entire gravity of the whole thing. Yeah, family is a great good for Israel, for faithful Jews. And I would say, especially in the first century, I think we have a kind of special look into their lives, of course, through the gospel. But family was more than just family, right? It's more than just kind of the natural bonds that we have, and often with simply our immediate family, right? Because we no longer live in the same house as our extended family. We no longer are about a family business together with our extended family. In fact, we're often counseled to not be in family businesses, because we can't handle it. But yeah, it's more than that. It has a very strong religious component. I know ours does too, but I mean, like, this is Israel marked out as the people of God, living to the commands of God, living the way of God. And part of that is being able to hold that together, the call of God and his mission in the family. This is the family then becomes a matter of alignment to the purposes of, really should be the God of Israel, but in Jesus' day we could say to Israel and to the agenda that the leaders of the people have put out there. And so the family is supposed to be kind of held together as part of the national ambition of the leaders of Israel. Is that too much to kind of hold in our heads? Is it? I feel like I'm speaking a different language. Yeah? No? Okay, well, I mean, it's not like it's a miserable day outside. I mean, anyway. I'm just saying, a little bit of feedback helps. It actually has the power to condense the homily to like half. But you wouldn't know, this is the anyway. I'm just messing with you. Anyway, so this is what Jesus walks into, right? Is like this. He's saying this about family, like who's my mother and brother, whatever, right? The ordinary alignment is, okay, the family living to the plan of Israel, and it's an enriching plan, right? We know, we've seen it, perhaps we've experienced it, we know kind of the statistics on it, like what divorce and breakup of a family does, right? It impoverishes people, right? We know, so there's a surefire way to lose a lot of wealth and lose property and the rest, and that's to just say, okay, whatever, right? Let the family go. No, the way to preserve wealth, prosperity, and to drive on towards that goal The family plays an essential part in that. And so the leaders of the people have, I don't know, they have their motivation to have the family remain as a unit is not simply religious. It's not simply, this is God's plan and the rest. This is all part of the construct of the people of God driving towards the achievement of Israel's national ambition. Yeah. Now I think anyway, if you can grasp that, you can grasp how serious it is when Jesus walks on the scene and says, mother, father, brother, sisters, whatever. And they're standing by going, what? Do you know what you're saying? And of course, yes, he does know what he's saying. What is he doing is the question. Okay, that's the plan of the leaders of Jesus' day to drive on to the achievement of national prosperity. But Jesus, what does he want to do? He wants to build a family of God. He wants Israel to be Israel at last. And it's only going to happen if Israel is founded again on love of God and love of neighbor. It's only going to be founded, it's only going to be truly prosperous according to the plan of God if Israel recommits to doing the will of God. And it really, this is then what Jesus is doing here is it's a heart by heart reality. I don't know if you've ever heard that little saying like God has no grandchildren. If you heard it, I'm sorry to tell you that. Right? For all of you who are praying for your children, right? I mean, no, we're praying for our children so that they can be God's children. That's what we want. But by virtue of your being God's child doesn't make your children God's grandchildren, right? What kind of reality is that, right? So this is the same kind of thing, right? Jesus wants to call people, draw people into the very heart of God so that they could be sons and daughters in the Son. Yeah, and this is the refounding of Israel, and again, it's a heart by heart reality. He's calling these people to himself to be part of the renewal movement, the renewed Israel movement that will then restore all of God's good world. Yeah, but this is the challenge, right? No casual affiliation will do. It's Jesus at the center, trusting him and following him. It's loving, trusting, and obeying God. That's all that matters. In the plan that Jesus is effecting, that's all that matters. It's not your bloodline, your ancestry. It's not your family, right? It's not the person sitting next to you, except that you have to love that person, right? I mean, this is, and actually the refounding of that reality, the refounding of the family on obedience to the will of God actually creates a stronger family. Right? Can we get there? Can we push on? Or is it just about something else? Yeah, it has, and this is like when I say it has to be, our lives have to be about Jesus. I mean, this is great words of exaltation from Jesus. Yeah, his mother's at the door, and you know who his mother is, and he's looking around and saying, here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. And for as much as that sends shockwaves and starts to break up the recalcitrant Israel of his day, so too it sends shockwaves through us, through our hearts and lives, that that is going to be the founding principle of everything I think and say and do. It's the will of God. It's the will of God. And praise God, we have St. Francis de Sales today as our saint. He's one of my patron saints. Believe it or not, I need a team. It's like the guy's got so many patron saints. It's like, I need them. I mean, but St. Francis de Sales, I mean, in him, in his life, in his preaching, you see nothing but charity, and this then is the refounding of our lives on the will of God means that our lives are to be nothing but love for God. Yeah, we love the Lord our God with our whole heart, mind, soul, and strength. We love our neighbor as ourselves. Our life is to be an outpouring of self to God in praise and in His service, giving ourselves away to raise up His fallen world. That's it. That's what doing the will of God means, okay? And that's a joyful life. Doing the will of God, giving ourselves over to the cause of love, of charity, means that our lives also will flourish. I want to give you the signs that we're doing the will of God. Means that we'll be trusting and following Jesus. We're living by the Spirit. We're living by the Spirit's lead, but the Spirit is flourishing in us His own blessed life, and the fruit of that life is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, generosity, faithfulness, and self-control. That's the sign that we're living the way that God intends us to live. This is what it means to live by God's will, to love and trust and obey Him in all things.